Thank you for joining us for the Barbados Today morning news for Tuesday, August 15. I am Mary Claire Williams. Topping the news this morning, former Police Commissioner Darwin Dottin has broken his silence on issues relating to the Royal Barbados Police Force. His comments come after the Caribbean Court of Justice dismissed his request for special leave to appeal his removal from office 4 years ago. In an hour-long interview with Barbados Today, Dottin spoke of subversion in the promotion process and stopped short of accusing authorities of political interference in the running of the force. Dottin ran the RBPF from 2003 to 2013. He describes himself as a strong believer in the Commissioner's independence, but says he experienced problems in freely doing his job.
I don't want to be controversial and so on, but I hear sometimes about the difficulties that commissioners experience. I experience some of them as well. I think the powers that be need to be sensitive of these matters. They are matters that are within the domain of the police commissioner, and the commissioner needs to be given a free hand to lead his organization and so on.
The former top cop told Barbados Today there is something fundamentally wrong with any policy that ignores the Commissioner's input in the matter of promotions.
There are certain mechanisms in our Constitution that have to deal with how public servants are treated and so on in relation to promotions and discipline and so on. But I feel that some of these mechanisms are being subverted, and at some time in the future I will speak to them, because I think that they are fundamental, particularly like an organization like the force. I don't think that anybody outside of the force has all of the information necessary to make intelligent responses to issues of promotion in the absence of full input from the Commissioner. And I think it's a matter that is bearing heavily on the force.
President of the Barbados Road Safety Association, Sharmane Roland-Bowen, tells Transport and Works Minister Michael Lashley she has had enough of what she calls his false promises on an amended Road Traffic Act, and she is demanding that Lashley makes the new legislation a reality before year-end. Roland-Bowen was speaking against the backdrop of the island's 17th road fatality last weekend. She says Lashley has not delivered on his promises, which he first announced in 2013.
Quite recently, we would have seen, what drinking and getting behind that wheel entails. And I am referring specifically to the early morning jam, the 40 morning stuff we had to back over, when there were a number of collisions on our road. I see these things as warnings. I see these things as eye openers, for the people in authority to push and speed up the wheels, speed up the wheels, put their gear in the boat to drive. As I was saying, so as to get this legislation in place, for the active and enforced. It makes no sense, or it's of no use to anyone when it is on the paper, whether it's at whosoever office it is at. It should be a priority. And as leaders in a country, you have to be in a position of forceful position to get things, especially when it deals with the protection or deals with people's lives.
The Caribbean Examinations Council is reporting a decline in the number of candidates who registered for major exams in the 2016-2017 academic year. Delivering the assessment at CXC's headquarters yesterday, Director of Operations Stephen Savory announced a 1 to 2% drop in the number of entries in the CSEC and CAPE exams.
It is something that we've been talking about quite a bit, with regard to the number of, not just the number of candidates that take the exams, but we've also been focusing our attention on the number of subjects as well that should be taken. So those are the two things that we have been talking to our stakeholders on with regard to the whole idea of examinations. For example, you will know that to move on from a matriculation perspective, you would need at least 5 subjects and so on. Presently, our average in this particular exam was about 3 subjects, but that may be clouded by the fact that there are some candidates who are taking subjects as well in January. So that may be something and that's something that we're looking to correlate to see more of. But in terms of a specific reason, I don't think I'll be able to give you that very definitively. But there are a lot of factors involved in this.
After a lengthy ordeal, a Barbadian native who had applied for refugee status in Canada was released from an immigration detention center yesterday. Ricardo Scotland spent more than 4 years in a maximum security facility, and when Justice Edward Morgan ordered the release yesterday, he said there was no real reason why Scotland was held. The judge said that the single father was caught in an endless circuit of mistakes and unproven accusations. Upon his release, Scotland said his priorities are to spend time with his family.
I'm going to see my daughter, get a shower and talk to my family. That's enough for me. Just happy to be home, to go home to my family and my loved ones.
What's it been like for you the last 18 months?
It's been hard. Daughter knows what's going on, but my youngest one, she does not know what's going on.
What do you say to this judge who released you today? What was that like?
I say thank you a million times.
Meanwhile, his attorney says that the judge was shocked by Scotland's story.
I think that's what happened. Somebody listened to him and saw what was going on and realized that this guy has no reason to be in jail. I think the judge was as shocked as and he was extremely shocked, right? Like I don't think anybody here realized what happens to people that aren't Canadian in terms of immigration detention. You know, Justin Trudeau says it's 2017 and this is a progressive society, but this is what the government's doing to people, and people don't realize that. And when a judge hears the facts, I mean, if you were there on Friday, he was shocked. And I'm glad. I hope something happens. I hope people realize that human beings shouldn't be treated this way.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Morning, Miss Oya. Morning. You again. So you're washing cars now? Well, I can't keep up with you at all. Yes, girl. You know they're going to provision to selling slow. And I don't sell nation newspapers at all because them don't sell. So I washing cars now. I like to get up before 8:30 because I can't take the hot sun. You want the car wash? No, not today. It clean. But you're going in very early though? Yeah, I just going early so I can read the Barbados Today online before work starts. Right. But you can still let me clean the vendor for the $2. At least it's still cheaper than the nation newspaper. All right. I got a special boo here that I got it shining. Thank you. Enjoy your day here. You too. All right. What that paper is? She can see clearly when the dirt is gone.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back now with news from the region, and we go to the Bahamas, where the new government's plans to enforce a public disclosure policy may take a little longer than they anticipated. We get the details in this report from ZNS Network News.
Little talked about until a pronouncement by Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Hubert Minnis, the Public Disclosure Commission has been placed under the lens it's mandated to place on members of Parliament and their year-to-year finances. But scrubbing through the most recent documents will be anything but quick.
We are, with regards to reviewing documents, I think we just finished 2014, or we're in the middle of 2015. So it's the declarations are coming in, but that don't mean that we will get to those. I think the public is really interested in those who would not have declared. The substantive matter of delving into the actual documents themselves, we will not get to them for a while.
Further to that, the commission is only comprised of 3 members and staff which routinely vacations during the month of August. Lorota says the commission will likely meet in September, but that document assessments will be the extent of their work.
And finally, North Korea's state media is reporting that the country's leader Kim Jong-un has delayed a decision to fire missiles towards the U.S. territory of Guam, while he continues to observe the actions of the United States. Washington has warned that it will take out any missile heading for the Pacific island. Pyongyang announced plans to land 4 missiles near Guam last week, heightening tensions with Washington. U.S. President Donald Trump also warned that he would unleash fire and fury on North Korea if it threatened the U.S. Kim Jong-un inspected the command of the North's army yesterday in his first public appearance in about 2 weeks. That's news this morning. For more, you can visit our website www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Do have a good morning.